Hello and welcome to Sage's Retreat, a pleasant place for dad talk, gaming talk and all the juicy bits that are in between. I'm Lee, this is my co-host Nathan.
Hello.
Today we've got a good friend with us who's going to help us go through our thoughts on Star Citizen and what on earth is going on with it. So welcome to the podcast, Terry.
Hello!
Hi Terry.
Alright. So first of all, Terry, seeing as you've never been here before, we always like to ask as guests two different things. What started you gaming and what is the best game ever?
So what started me gaming would have been about 35 years ago when I was about 4 and I first got my Atari 2600.
Is that the wooden one? Is that the black one?
There was the wooden one, yes.
Wow, that's proper old. That's like when really old people with massive long grey beards go, can you remember this is where I used to game on this? And then they looked at it and go, shit, it's made of wood. And then all I think to myself is, I want an Xbox made of wood.
Yeah, there's not enough wooden electronics anymore, is there?
I'd love
anything wooden anymore.
A wooden trim on your TV. I'd look banging, wouldn't it? Like a small
wooden
trim.
cars. They used to have wooden car doors. Remember them?
Remember that really curvy one? That really curvy car that you used to get that had it used to have like wood everywhere, and you'd be like, "What is this? A car? A fucking picture frame? Is it scaffolding to keep it together? Did they run out of metal?" What's going on with it? But it was beautiful, and it was like, when you see, and every now and again you'll see a picture of it, or there used to be, where I used to live, there used to be a guy that had one and looked after it really well. They were a bit of like a quirky family. They had like a million plants in the garden and loads of pets. And when we used to have like a pet day, they used to bring in all these animals, and they used to have a daughter that was in a wheelchair. So it was like there was all these different angles to this family. They had this disabled daughter who was she was lovely. They had this crazy garden, and it was like a zoo, and they had a wooden car. What's more hippie than all of that? But sorry, Tad, where have we gone to in that conversation? So Terry,
we took a left turn and gone down the valley.
That's where we go. That's the best way to speak. So wooden. So you had a wooden console.
Yes.
How did you power it? Like
Atari.
coal?
A few hamsters.
That's the way. That's the way. What games?
Yeah.
What games? Yeah.
No, I had 2 games for it when I first started. It was Pac-Man, obviously, and Centipede. So those were my first 2 games I ever had and loved.
Which one was Centipede? I feel like I'm being really dumb. Which one was Centipede?
You had a centipede going down the screen and you had to shoot it. It was a bit like Space Invaders, but with just one long one coming down. You can look it up now.
I am. No, I need to have a really quick look because I remember, obviously, everyone knows Pac-Man.
There was 2 versions. There was Centipede and Millipede.
Oh. Is it Snake? Is that what it is?
You had to shoot it.
Did the centipede, did you have to attack the centipede, or was the centipede you?
No, you had to attack the centipede. Start at the top of the screen and come down, and you would shoot it, but you would also have rocks in the way and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that looks really good. So it would go like that.
Yeah,
if anyone can see this, I'm just doing I'm doing a repeated Z movement as it's going across, and then you'd.
That's right.
Oh, it's very much Space Invaders. Oh my God, it's split in 2. It's split in 2 on this video. Okay, now I'm just scared.
Yeah. So that was my very first games.
I mean So an introduction to games very much to what
pretty much very early in my life.
Similar to some of the games that I played years ago on a similar system. I think the Atari or something like that, which I played, I think it was black, like a black plastic one.
Yeah, I did the version.
I didn't have the posh deluxe wooden trim one. I wasn't that. No, it wasn't even mine. It was a friend's. And I used to play Defender, but very much in the same vein. Super basic. You had about 16 different colours, and they used to work brilliantly together. And classics, aren't they? And often they got reimagined, didn't they, as well? In there was often new releases of sort of similar sort of games with those.
Yeah, that's right.
Quite amazing.
So, So as for my favourite game,
we did say you could have 2, seeing as you are special to us, Terry.
Well, my first one is Jet Set Radio.
Jet Set Radio.
Yes.
Is that the one that was on the Dreamcast?
Yeah. Correct.
Yes,
I absolutely loved it. It was just it was poly shaded graphics, cartoon style, sort of like Tony Hawk's on rollerblades with jetpacks, sort of thing. and used to graffiti places. It used to be really addictive.
Oh, it's the green and yellow logo. I remember this. So I lived in a shared house for a very short amount of time, and I remember them having this and playing it. Of course, look at those graphics. That's absolutely amazing. I remember this. It looks stunning. Absolutely. So we need a multiplayer version of this set. We need a new one. Running
I
around.
have it on my phone. I have the game on my phone.
Oh, do you? Right.
Yeah, they ported it onto the phone, so I've got it on there as well.
Excellent. Now that looks really. That's definitely a blast from the past, but not too far away. But of course, coming from a console which we haven't really spoke about yet, but the Dreamcast, which should have been amazing, but didn't quite make it.
I loved it. It was a shame it failed in its sense with the PlayStation coming out. But
I think everyone that had a Dreamcast,
that's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, I think everyone that had a Dreamcast has turned around and said, "Wow, we love the Dreamcast. What happened to it?" I mean, that thing would connect to the internet. It had like a massive keyboard with it. Those controllers were very interesting, and it had the little packs you could put in. Obviously, there's a complicated story to why it all failed, and we're gonna be covering that at some point in the future. Did you have a Dreamcast?
Oh yeah.
You had one. Well,
I think there's only like 3 consoles I've never had.
Oh, here he goes. Here he goes, Nathan. I've had all the consoles.
I can't help it. Well, then again, most of them have been in the last 10 years. So
yeah,
you know. But yeah, apart from a Jaguar, I didn't have one of those.
No one had a Jaguar. You could buy a car for the same amount.
My friend did. My friend had a Jaguar.
Oh my god.
But no, I never did. And the other one was a Mega CD, but yeah.
There wasn't a lot that came out in the Mega CD, to be fair, was there?
No.
There's had like maybe 5 or 6 good games, and then the rest were just like, why? Better audio, of course. And the odd bit of video. The odd bit of video wasn't there.
Yes, FMVs.
Yes, the Sewer Shot. Remember Sewer Shot? I remember seeing adverts for that, just going, wow, it looks interesting, but also a bit crap, because it didn't look as good as what... They'd have this video, and he'd be like, what is this? It's
we do that now.
Do you know when you put YouTube on, and it's like... comes off in like lower than 480p? It looks like that with a bad filter, and it's like... Even then, I was like, "This sounds nice, but it looks like trash."
Yes.
So you've got. Did you mention 2 there? Or was that just the one? Did we go off again?
I mentioned the one. We don't worry about the second one too much.
No, we want to hear it.
I can't think of it now. Well, I suppose PlayStation 2 would be Guitar Man.
Guitar
which is
Man.
Another, it's just like Papa the Rapper.
Okay, I remember that. Yeah.
But so you would have all the symbols coming in from each side, and then you would have a long snake thing that you had to follow as well, and the music was very funky.
I can see the long snake.
Yeah. But you can.
Oh, I can.
So I mean, it started off as a demo out of a magazine. I was so addicted to it, and I kept going to my local computer shop and going, when are you getting this in? When are you getting this in?
Yeah.
And because it's hard to find it anywhere. And she went, here you go, have the store demo version. So I got the full game that was meant to be for store only. So it didn't have any casing, it was just a blue disc.
That's amazing. Oh, the blue disc. I used to love those blue discs.
Yeah, it was just a blue disc with Guitar Man written on it, and that was it.
That's good. I never played that. Did you ever play that, Nathan? Did you ever?
No, I didn't. I played Papa the Rapper.
Yeah.
And Rez, can you remember Rez?
Rez was amazing.
Similar to that.
Still got that.
Rez was amazing. I think I've got that somewhere. There was a new version. There was like a new one, wasn't there? Oh.
Yes.
I can't remember what it's called, but it was very similar to that. I think they're very interesting game choices. Ones that I don't think me and Nathan could have guessed in a million years.
Nope.
I think they're like. I feel like they're like personals. You've kept hold of them, and it's like I'm gonna save these until somebody asks me, and then I'm gonna be like, these are my favorite games, and they're gonna look at me and go, oh, that's an interesting choice. I think they're very interesting and of course very valid, because games are all very personal to each person, aren't they? It's always interesting to know what games meant the most. That's good.
Yeah. I thought you were going to choose Final Fantasy VII or Chrono Trigger. Well, that's what I would have penned you down as.
That is in my top list, but it's Well, yeah. I suppose Final Fantasy 7 over everything, but yeah.
Yeah, as a last personal question.
But that's generic, though. That's just generic for most people who play Final Fantasy. They'll either choose 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So I try and think outside the box.
Yeah. As a last sort of a personal question, what are you playing now?
The Medium. I'm trying that at the moment.
Yes.
Control, because it was free on the PlayStation 5 this month. So
does that look good? Does it look good? I've heard it's one of the better games for taking advantage of the new generation.
Control's good. It's also on Xbox Pass as well.
Yes.
So,
yeah, I've seen it. I've been tempted.
But yeah, it runs better on the PS5, to be honest. I get a bit of lag when I play it. But Medium's good. I like that as well.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It's good stuff. Right, let's get down to it. This podcast, we've rambled on for a few minutes with Terry, but we're going to jump into what we're actually talking about. We're going to have a little chat about Star Citizen. If you're listening to this or watching us chat about it, you may know about Star Citizen. It is, well, personally, I'm just going to say I think it is amazing. We're very critical. A lot of this is going to be critical in terms of our chatter about it. But I think ultimately, Star Citizen is the right word, or it will be. It can be. It has the potential to be.
Yeah.
It's not quite there. It could be.
Yeah, I've had experiences. We all have, because we've played together. We've had experiences with Star Citizen that have been brilliant. Have been absolutely. We've had hours on it. We've spent nights on it, playing it, flying around, doing missions. But ultimately, this game's been around a while now, like a long while now, and it's got a lot. There's a lot of people working on it. It's got a lot of money pumped into it. What was the numbers? What numbers we're looking at, Nathan? What we're talking?
300 million as of June last year, and we've got an up-to-date estimate of 339, but I think it's more than that because from other stuff. But
that was a month ago. It was a month ago. That was
That's the only one that we can tie down. That's the most recent figure that we can put a tie down to. So it's a lot. It's a lot of money for a lot, and a lot of time for what I would say not a lot. I would have expected a lot more.
In terms of their scope and what they said would be, considering they said it would be out by now, it should have been out a few years ago, and that includes Squadron 40. That includes Squadron 42. So, for a start, anyone that's doesn't know what Star Citizen is, I think we need to sort of preempt this conversation with what it is. It is a space game. You get to pick a role, and that role can be typically a trader. It can be a space pirate, and there's many others. Couriers. There's many other roles sort of in between. You can be in a bit of an adventurer, can't you? I mean, you can fly around and map the stars. And then there was another aspect of it, which was the first-person sort of. It was a first-person shooter, which I've tried, and it's garbage. There's, I can't remember what it's called now. There's Arena, which I believe is their like dogfighting, and then there was Squadron 42, which is their story-driven sort of element to it, wasn't it? And
that's right.
Yeah, so that was supposed to be out by now, and they've recently they're not committing it to a roadmap. So they have a very famously, they have a roadmap that gets published, and it has a series of dates on it and what they're going to do. So in 2 months' time, we'll fix the door on this ship. It's that sort of thing. The handle's wonky on the toilet. We'll look at fixing that. We've got 25 people. We're going to give it a good look, and we're going to get it fixed. And I know what I'm saying is an exaggeration, but it feels like that, doesn't it?
It's not, because you'll press it and you'll fall out.
It's like, what are they doing? What are they doing with all this massive amount of money? But yeah, Squadron 42, so they're not committing a roadmap to it. Now, we've already seen lots of famous faces in it, whether it's Mark Hamill or whether it's Gillian Anderson, and there's numerous other ones that I could probably find a list of them, but there's two which kind of come to the front of when I think about it. And I'm like looking forward to this. And my initial pack that I bought had that in it. I think it was on offer as well. It was like a bit of an offer, and it was like, buy the game, you get your basic ship, your game, and if you buy it now, you get this Squadron 42. And I'm like, that's some sort of game in a game. I love that as well. Why wouldn't you? It's like getting online tagged with a story-driven game, like getting Grand Theft, but then getting this. There's this online, which ended up being a bit crap to start with, but ultimately took over Grand Theft and now rules the world. It's spanned over like 3 generations of console, hasn't it? Now something like that. Plus, obviously, the PCs that it's on. So time-wise, what we're talking time, Nathan? What we're talking?
Well, we've got 2010. We're meant to launch in 2014, but that's when the Kickstarter was. It is actually 2008 or 2009. I remember reading. So it's had a good 10, 11 years up to now, when it should have been out nearly 7 years ago.
The information that I could find out is very similar. It was started to be developed 2010. Obviously, that could be 9. The Kickstarter was 2012. And they meant to launch in 2014. Now, what game launched in 2014? Can you remember? It was Elite Dangerous.
Yeah. Oh, was it?
Yes, it was Elite Dangerous that launched. And their Kickstarter was pretty much the same time as Star Citizens. Now, you can argue it. You can be like, well, they're totally different games. In a lot of aspects, they are.
Yes and no.
But... they sit very nicely next to each other depending on what you want. The biggest thing that's missing is obviously the Odyssey, which is going to be coming out this year. Once that comes into Elite Dangerous, Star Citizen, well, they should be like not in a happy position. You know that there's going to be a lot of people going, if they pull Odyssey off well, which, fingers crossed, they do. We've got a lot of hope for Odyssey.
They should do.
Yeah. I feel like they've been in development with Odyssey for years now, and it's been like a blanket not mention it. Every time it's been brought up, they've been like, oh, whatever, we're not, whatever. And they're just like talking to a politician. They just like roll on to something else. If Odyssey's pulled off well, then Star Citizen have got something to worry about, because that's one of the main things that they've been sitting on, is the fact that you can walk around. It's Elite Dangerous, but you can walk around.
Yeah. Do you think that when Star Citizen was going right, you can walk around, the people at Elite Dangerous went, oh, we better do something about that, and they did Odyssey.
Yeah.
It's sort of a little prod at them. Also, you got No Man's Sky, which is what Elite Dangerous is also. What Star Citizen's also been put side by side along with Elite Dangerous.
Yeah.
So
they sit.
Maybe it's a case of shit. We need to do something.
Yeah. As far as space games go, they all sit with each other very nicely.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that. That if you have all 3 of those games, you have ultimately what you need from space games, other than you need it all in one package. And I think Elite Dangerous is coming close to having that in a package. So obviously we'll bring in a lot of those sort of No Man's Skies, the walking about, the weapons, the suits. There's going to be multiple suits.
Yep.
And I think it will look, maybe a bit of a graphics overhaul on that. I think it's going to look. I think it's going to look pretty decent. I mean, we've played a lot, but like you go on a planet on Star Citizen. I have some news about that. I need to read a quote out on that. I've copied it. I'll read it in a second. But you go on a planet on Star Citizen. It's stunning, isn't it?
It is. Depending which planet you go to, but yeah.
Yeah, the way that you can see the stars and the ground and the areas. So rolling off that onto what was recently announced. So I'll just read it as it is. Developer Cloud Imperium Games has confirmed that both Delamar, which is the planet, and Levski are being removed from the game in the upcoming alpha. And the upcoming alpha build of Star Citizen. The reason given is that this would free up memory. It's like they've got a PC with 30 gig of RAM on it, and it's like we need some of this free. The reason given is this would free up memory and entities for future additions to the Star Citizen universe until server meshing is implemented. Unfortunately, there's no confirmation on when the server meshing will be available. So they are taking out. It's one of the small. It's a small planet that they're taking out.
Yeah.
With a city in it, which is the hub of Levski. Which I actually Levski's my favourite place. I like the.
Is that where we got the coat from? The big long trench coat from?
It's where the market is. It's like the market. Yeah, they've got the little meadow all underneath, haven't they?
No, they can't remove that. That's just stupid.
It's being taken out to free up memory. So they've got a limited amount of space for whatever they're doing, and they need to remove a chunk out. It's like having a hard drive and going, I need to install Red Dead. I need to delete a game. It's like, hang on a minute. What are you doing with that money? Like, of course, it's easy to criticise us talking about this because we're not developers. And that's fine, but we're not speaking as developers. We're speaking as normal people that have spent money on a game that want to be able to play. Not even all the game, elements of the game. I mean, what do you reckon? What should be available now? After all these years, so after 8 years, we'll go from 2012, from when they started the Kickstarter, because clearly they had something going. From there to now, what would you like to be able to do? I mean, Nathan, you've spent money on some ships and what have you. What would you like to be able to do right now?
Luckily, Jade probably won't watch this one, so she won't know how much money I've spent. But I've spent a considerable amount of money on stuff, on a promise of that it was going to be out by now and it would be good. At a bare minimum, I'd like to be able to get in a lift and not die. I'd like to be able to get out of bed and not glitch in the ceiling. I'd like to be able to get in a friend's ship, and then when they spool up the quantum drive to go to warp, basically, I don't fly out of the back of the ship or fall through a crack. I just like a solid, just no glitches. Well, even if it was still in some sort of beta, I'd expect beta by now, not alpha. I think alpha should have finished about 4 years ago, at least. I'd want a beta, and I'd want them implementing at least features and stuff by now. I mean, how much money I've spent on it, I've never spent this much on a game before, and I should definitely have at least something to show for it, which at the minute I've just got tech demo basically, so yeah. And I don't want to have to spend £4,000 on a PC to be able to run it, you know, with everything you need to just be able to get it to go. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I know we all, between three of us, we've all got decent PCs, but of varying different degrees. And
capable PCs of playing games. We can all play games on our. If a game comes out, we can be like, we can play that game. We don't need to think. We might need to adjust the settings, which I do that because I'm a hog for frames. I like my frames, so I'll mess about with settings, and I can do that with Star Citizen. I actually purchased a separate SSD, so I have an M.2 drive SSD on my motherboard, which runs my OS, and I'm like, I'm going to buy another SSD so that I can play Star Citizen, and it did make it run better. But why should I have to spend 40-50 quid on a piece of hardware to enable this game to give me an extra 10 frames a second, which ultimately make a massive difference when you're only getting fucking 16.
Yeah.
In some areas, it's like, what's happened?
Well, for me, it was like 4 or 5.
Well, it was for me as well. You go in some deep city, and you walk around a corner, and you just gone. It's like, okay. It's like a picture book that someone's drawing in real time to to present to you, and I think it's just a bit disappointing. I mean, for me, what I want at the moment is, I would personally be happy, like if in the next few months they turn around and went, you know what, we've got 2 planets, we've got 2 cities, we've got 3 bases, and we've got 10 ships, and they all work flawlessly, albeit the odd bug.
Yes.
And all your missions work. You can pick up. I'll get onto this in a second. You can put a box in your ship, right? You can transport it. You can deliver it, and all that will work. All of that, and I can do that multiple times. And I want a half decent amount of frames. Just fuck it. Just Just give me that. I don't want 17 galaxies and 100 planets. I want something I can jump on for a few hours one night with my boys, and I can have a little dash around in my ship, and I can do a bit of PvP, and I can do a bit of this and a bit of that, and I can actually enjoy it. I can have some fun.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you can't. And it's down to, and famously discussed in the Star Citizen forums, it's down to feature creep.
Yeah.
They're more bothered about adding a new ship, adding a new ship.
That's what I was going to mention.
Adding a new ship, adding a new ship. And Nathan, you've mentioned this before. You love the Star Citizen ships, don't you?
Yeah. I think they're better than Elite.
Yes. There are some good Elite ships. There are some Elite ships which are pretty stunning. But I think as an overall, even the smaller ships in Star Citizen have this kind of like, they all have their own companies. I know Elite does as well, but you can look at those ships. And what was that big ship which you really like? The Reclaimer.
Yeah.
That was you said to me that you really want a Reclaimer, didn't you? You're like, I really want a Reclaimer because they are amazing, aren't they? They're like these. What do they do? Tell me about the Reclaimer.
They go in after a space battle and they eat the other ships. Basically, they munch them all up, and then you process this scrap and then sell the scrap. I mean, it sounds boring if you put it in terms like that, but imagine
it's a flying skip.
It's a flying scrap, man. You've got like horn going out shouting any old iron while you unpick all bits up. But the ship itself, it looks like the Nostromo from Alien. It's beautiful.
It's got those features in it,
Yeah, it's so nice, and it's. I don't think you get that feeling Elite from ships that you do with them. I mean,
there is a downside to that ship, though. There's a big downside to that ship is getting off the planet. It takes 10 years.
Yeah.
Because I have tried so many times to go off a planet with that ship, it just ends up either conking out or I managed just to get out after about half an hour.
Yeah.
By the time you've got off, the free fly weekend is over, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've missed it just on that one ship trying to get out of this thing.
Yeah.
It's horrid for lift off.
It's a monstrous looking ship. It is a thing of kind of like brutal beauty, isn't it? It's
grotesque beauty.
It's like watching a skip lorry, like the binman's lorry going down the road. It's like, it's just a piece of shit, isn't it? But you know what? You always kind of, like, as a kid, I was always look at them like, oh, they're awesome, aren't they? This vehicle that has this function of being a giant bin on wheels that crunch stuff in the back. That is literally what it is, isn't it? But who was it that mentioned it, Nathan? When you go in that ship and you go to that what's like the little staff sitting down area. They've blatantly ripped it from Alien, but it's beautiful. I mean, I'm not the only one who's mentioned it, not the only one who's brought it up on the forums, but I bet you I'm not the only one who's just stood there and just looked at it and just stood there watching this static scene with maybe something flashing in the corner and just being like, I want this in my ship.
Yeah.
This is what I want in my ship.
But I see there's somebody who's worked on one of the films, or they've just taken it from the film.
It was directly influenced from the film, I believe.
Yeah, it's either influenced or somebody who has worked on the film has had some input.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, they spoke to the set designers and art designers of Alien, and they actually, I think in some aspect they worked together for that.
Yeah.
If you were to look it up yourself, you'd probably find that information out somewhere. But I read that, and I'm pretty sure that's what happened with that. Yeah. And it's believable, isn't it? You're just like, wow. Yeah. The cupboards and the it's amazing. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. Yeah. Give me enough money, I'm going to buy a house, I'm going to build that. I'm not going to have the frozen person with the alien light in them or anything. No, I'll skip that. But yeah, beautiful ships.
Yes.
How do you feel about the model with having to buy the ships? How do you feel about that? Is that something which you think is long term? Is something that they're going to carry on with?
I hope not. For me, it's a lot of money, especially as for my circumstances, it's a lot of money to buy a ship.
Yes.
So I mean, I wouldn't mind if they bring out the game, charge you say £60 or something, and you get a couple of ships, or just a ship of your choice from the starter ships.
Yeah, it's your Sidewinder.
So then you've got the game regardless. So instead of, having to buy that ship, then you've got to maintain that ship as well, not crash it. I know doing free insurance at the moment, but when the game comes out, is that going to be still around?
What's that about as well, insurance? What I don't get it. There's this LTI, there's life insurance, there's something else as well that they do. And I'm like, just give me...
Lee has it as well.
It's a friggin' demo. Just give me the shit.
Yeah.
If I break it, give it me back. Your game's not out yet. I shouldn't have to pay credits for it. I'm a tester. That's what we all are playing the game. We're testers for this game because we're all going on there and going, ship's broke. Can't flush the toilet. Do you know what I mean?
It does feel like they're instead of more about the game, they're more about the money now.
There's a lot of
It feels it's more about the money than it is about the game now. They would happily do a DayZ with it, just keep it going forever. And then suddenly bring it out and it's still broken.
Maybe, isn't that what you said will happen, Nathan? That they'll get to a point and they'll be like, we need to release the game.
Yeah.
And then they'll release it and it'll be broke. And it'll be like, well, that's it now. We're done. We can't do anything else.
We've earned his money and we've released it. What more? And then they'll just disappear. That's what I think it'll end up being.
I mean, I'm hoping maybe for like a cyberpunk / No Man's Sky sort of. For me, that would be the ideal. Would be to release it as a core, and then be like, okay, so next month there'll be an update. Then a couple of months later, there's another update, and it'll be like, boom, fix that, boom, fix that. There's and by the way, we're working on this new planet. There we go. It's got 3 cities on it. Loads more jobs would open up, new job roles or whatever. I'd love to see that steady progression of it building up and get it, things that work being implemented and it getting better and better and better.
Yeah.
Instead of here's all this stuff and it's broken. Don't complain because we're making it.
Yeah, we're still doing things to it. Yes, but this one mission in Olisar is still broken from when you first built it out.
Yeah.
Did anyone else do that mission where you had to deliver a package to? I think it was Olisar, and you could not give it to the. You could not do anything with it. I'm walking around with this box, and I'm like, "There's a dude there." I'm like, "Yo, you want this box?" He's like, just looking at me. Or he'd be like this, T-posing.
Or you'll go. Oh, when you put it on the desk, you get off the desk.
Or it'd be standing on the chair. Yeah.
Get off the desk, yeah.
Or then you'd have to... They'd have that delivery box, wouldn't they? Like a post box.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't take it. It wouldn't take it. So I'm like...
I found out later that quest was actually a different spaceport. You had to go and deliver it somewhere else. It was labelled wrong.
Yeah.
It was... I can't remember what it was, but it was like Grim or something like that. You had to go and deliver it there instead.
So you do what it tells you, it's wrong, and you just end up, because there's no way you can know what to do, so you just dump it on the floor, and you just walk off, and, I don't know, just be angry for 10 minutes, which I think's what I do with a lot of games anyway. Just be grumpy for a bit with them, and massively disappointing. One thing that Nathan, I think this is a bit of a thing that you love to talk about, is the fanboys of the game.
Yeah.
I hate them. I've never met a community as deluded as
not toxic. Toxic's not. I was thinking toxic, but then I'm like, no, they're not toxic. They're just assholes.
Yeah.
Not all of them, because some of them are very much like.
Because we're part of that as well. So
I think there's a lot of them which are just like, they're still making it. It's broke. I'll just wait. And I think that's kind of that's like accepting that's like someone sort of dying and then eventually just sort of going, I'll be all right. It's I accept this murder that's happening and eventually I'll be fine. And I think they just know. I think they're committing themselves to knowing and accepting eventually that they'll just forget about it. And in 10 years' time, $1 billion later, they might. I mean, at that point, Chris Roberts' kids, they'll probably be working on it as well. They probably would have outsourced it to somewhere in like China, some factory. They'll just be like 1,000, 2,000 people. These programmers just like, oh, did you get that Star Citizen job? Yeah, the whole village is doing it. I think that those people that accept it, but then there's those angry ones. And you always come up, Nathan. You've shared a few posts with me, and we haven't got any examples, but if those ones that are just like they're just horrible.
Yeah,
you can't say anything bad. Someone says something like, "Oh, do you think it's taking a bit long?" Like it's just in a post or something, and they just jump on it. We don't want to rush products. We don't want this. Stop bad mouthing it. It's not going to make it any faster. Get out at group. Don't let Dora your own way out. And it irritates me. You can't even have a proper discussion on there with people.
It's a dick waving competition for people that have spent more than $1,000 on it. I say dollars because there's a lot of Americans in there, but they'll be like, have you seen those people that post those pictures of all the ships they've got? And it's like there's some like online, I think it's a website actually. You go on and you tell it what ships you've got, and then it makes this like it lays them out in this like 3D, and you can take like a screenshot of it and then you can share it if you want to. And there's some of them and they've got like dozens of ships. And I'm like,
have they though?
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they have. I legit. I mean, there's probably some that haven't, and are just like. But a lot of them share they do screenshots of how much they've spent, don't they? I mean, I know you can edit them, but why would you go to that? Yeah. Why would you go to that much effort? So there's just people out there that have like, I've spent thousands on it.
Well, I know rich people have, but
and I'm glad to wait. I'm glad to wait for it to finish. It's like, all right, mate. Okay.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, a lot of these people on the forum, like it's going slow, and then they get jumped on. Yeah, but the thing is, where it's at now and where it should be is two different things. Yeah. So it is slow.
Yeah. There's a lot of them that won't admit that it's just taking too long.
They need to stop making ships and concentrate on what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Or stop removing places or building new cities, or concentrate on what you've got, get it polished, then start moving on.
So I upgraded my ship not long ago, and it took me about 5 to 10 minutes to open the hatch on it, because you have to like walk around the outside until there's like a prompt. It's like walking up to your front door, going like this and waiting for it to go open. So I'm at the handle and I'm going like, I'm waving my hands around and just nothing's happening. Or I see it for like a split second and I'm like, I go, ooh, and then I go to find it again and then I can't find it. And I'm just looking at it, just going, what am I supposed to do with this? What am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
So what was the other thing? So yeah, there's that. There was, I had my cargo in it, but then it had disappeared. I had my cargo in it, but I lowered my like, it's underneath like the hull that it came down. My cargo was in it, but then it went up so that it would lift like a lift. It would lift up, take the cargo up into, because you can't access the cargo bay from inside the ship, only from outside. Yeah. It would go up, but then when you put it back down, it was stuck in the ship.
Oh no.
Then I had some other issue with it where it wouldn't fly. I couldn't take off. I couldn't do the landing gear. It wouldn't take off. So I contacted them. I'm like, right, I want to roll back to the last ship I had. Keep the money. It wasn't a lot extra. I'm like, just keep it, and then what I'll do is I'll spend it on something in the future. I'll use
store credit. Keep
it as store credit. It's like you take a jacket back, you ain't got the receipt, just whatever. Do you know what I mean? I'll just spend it on something else. They turned around and said, no. The only way you can do it is if you have the whole of your package refunded to store credit, and then you can then re-buy stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, that's one way of... It's called melting, so you melt your package down.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not the worst idea, except it is. Because... Now, people that have done this before, that I've seen mention it on the forums, have melted their package and they've gone through a process of having to buy specific ships in a specific order in order to get where they want to, because it's not a direct purchase. It's sometimes you have to buy a ship and then you have an option to upgrade it to another ship, and then you just end up throwing up and trying to think about it because it literally melts your brain. Yeah. My issue is if you have if you mail toy stuff and had this refund, so I then recontacted them. I'm like, but when I bought the game with the Squadron 42. It was on an offer. You can't have the same offer. So what happened is I would refund, but then I'd be able to buy my ship and have some store credit left over, but I wouldn't have had my Squadron 42.
Which, yeah.
And that made me very angry. And I think if I'd have been in a shop and someone had given me that kind of bullshit, I would have been barred from the shop. It's one of those, like, snap your controller moments because your rage is that. I remember reading it and just thinking, I want to punch my monitor. It won't help anything, but for about 5 seconds it would probably make me feel better.
Yeah.
It was just shitting in my face. It was not what I wanted to hear as a consumer of a product that is fundamentally broken.
Yeah.
And yes, I know it's not finished. Anyone that's watching, I get that. And quite frankly, right now, I don't care what you think about what I'm saying. Well, because what I'm saying is I bought something, it was broke. All I wanted was to... Can I just go back to the other ship I had? Can I just do that? Because that one was actually working okay. Can I just have that? And then we'll get on with it. And if they'd have done that for me, I would have been like, you know what? That's brilliant. Thanks a lot. You've earned.
That's customer service.
That's good customer service, and you've earned me as a future participant in this game when it's released, probably just before I die. But at least it gives me time to save up for a PC to play it. That's one way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, look at it this way. I mean, we played DayZ quite a lot when it was first in its alpha and beta. I mean, look at the massive amount of mistakes it had in that. Still better than Postars is in his.
Yeah.
I mean,
still had more in it as well.
The meme of the ladder is going to go on forever. Yeah. Don't go up a ladder. Don't go up a ladder. You'll just die. And it happened once or twice. I'm pretty sure it happened once or twice. But I would always still be like, I'm going up that ladder.
I'm going up it whether I like it or not.
I need to get up there. I'm going to get on that ladder, and I'm going. And I would do it. But even DayZ now, it's broke. Because
it's still broken. Yeah, they released it.
Because you literally starve. You can't feed yourself in that. All I want to do is have some food. I want some food, and then I want to just walk. And I want to get some guns. I want to die or kill somebody, and then I want to repeat it, because that game is literally a rinse and repeat game, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
The only way to play that game and enjoy it is to mod it.
Yeah.
And then you can enjoy it. You can get the experience that, quite frankly, we deserve. You know, all we want is to be able to survive. We want to be able to feed ourselves. That's not a lot to ask, is it? It's not a lot to ask. Oh, you can get an apple tree. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. That's if it drops. Yeah, we would spend hours farming for apples.
What is the algorithm on that? What is it? What did they do? Did they look outside and go, I don't know. Oh, I don't even know what's going on. Like Britain.
Yeah, as I was going to make a point is, DayZ, even though it had a lot of mistakes, they would try and fix that mistake to make another mistake. But then they would try and fix that one and go back to the original mistake.
Can you remember when they made those zombies that would like move really fast, and when they come up to you, it's like they would vibrate like that, and you couldn't kill them. You literally couldn't kill them.
Or you went into a house, close the door, and next minute you just come through the door.
Yeah,
or through the wall, or through the window, or whatever. It's like,
what door?
No.
What door? There's no door.
Or you would find one half in the floor.
You'd be stood like 6 feet away or more, and they'd still hit you. And it's like, come on. It was like me when I was playing Dark Souls the other day, when I was trying to kill this boss on me, and I'm going, how's he hitting me? He's nowhere near me. He's swinging that light sword or whatever it was, and he'd still hit me, even though I was definitely not in range of him. And it's like, it just felt like he was cheating. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? But yeah, so I mean,
they need to just basically keep it down with everything. Stop making more stuff and just concentrate on what they've got as a package of Star Citizen.
I think,
and then work on it.
I want to. I'm going to say I want to believe in it.
Yeah.
I want to just.
It's got potential.
It's not all hate. And I think when people moan about it, I think people forget that these people sort of care. We do care about it. We want it to succeed. We want it to be what it can be, and what it can be is it can be amazing. It could potentially be the last space game that people would want to play.
Yeah, I mean, we've had lots of fun on it.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to, is it Levski we went to and tried to get out on top of that grating and get back in again. And
that was so much fun.
From ship to ship.
So much fun. Just jumping
There's been all sorts of running,
reversing the ship. Like, beep, beep, beep. So you reverse it, we'd be going up and down, jumping on that, the back door sort of thing. Oh, it was
on the ramp,
I want to say the ramp,
I want to mention, actually, something that Nathan was on about when we're as a team in the ship. Something that happened with me and Lee when we're flying along and you suddenly disconnected and I'm stuck in your ship. Couldn't get out, couldn't take control, nothing. I was like stuck in this ship. And the only way I could get out was by exiting the game.
Yeah. That was bad, wasn't it? I remember that.
I was like, I couldn't get through any doors, couldn't even get into the main cockpit to take over. Because if I was in the cockpit, I probably could have done it, but no. He was like, you're stuck. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. There was that bit where we flew out all the way to a planet, and I jumped near the front windscreen, and I basically died. I think what happened? Did I break my arm or something, and then I just died?
But we were literal half an hour to that planet as well, weren't it?
Yes.
It was literal half an hour. So
it would. I don't. Yeah, it took. It took a long
moment.
It took a long time to get over to that planet, and I was like, "Oh, what? That will just stand here. Oh, now I'm dead." and it's like you'd have to just do it again. Yeah. So
that's why I get disheartened when I want to fly the Reclaimer. And I'm like, I'm going to be here for an hour getting off the planet. Yeah. Please don't blow up. Please don't blow up.
Yeah. It's funny. It's a game we've had a lot of fun on. And I feel like I've nearly had my money's worth. In the same with DayZ, we played it before it had been released. And we easily got our money's worth from it before it.
Definitely, yeah.
So if it releases,
I haven't got Star Citizen. I have to literally do the free flies. So,
but you've played a lot of it, haven't you?
Yeah, I have played a lot of it. Well, I mean, obviously, when there's a free fly or anything like that, I'm straight on it. But
you've been very close to buying it a few times, though.
Yeah.
But
it's once I have those bad experiences of falling out of ships, falling through the lift, falling out of everything. I'm like, I'm not purchasing it if he's going to do that on me.
Yeah, I mean, as for falling certificate, so the last free fly, I'd flown from one planet from where I'd spawned, like Olisar or whatever, to the planet, and eventually got to the location. I was running around, and as you probably remember, and I'd fell through the floor.
Yeah.
And I'd respawned back at 10 minutes away, and it's like, come on.
They need to implement the ship saves. So if you're flying somewhere, you can save yourself in that area and come back to it if you crash.
I'd purchase some guns, put them in my ship, and then go out the ship, and then they'd gone.
Yeah. That's
not ideal, really. Not if you want your gun back. But yeah, so it'll be there one day. I feel myself sighing when I say, "Oh, it'll be there one day." But yeah, it'll. I'm hoping.
We said that about DayZ, so
yeah. I mean, that took a few years, didn't it? And it got to a point. I mean, didn't they kind of broke cars in that as well, though, didn't they? I mean, they kind of. They used to be able to find a car, and now it's like you have to spend 2 days building one. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I'd rather just find one every now and again and it work. But yeah, so hopefully one day it will come out and we can have the experience that we deserve. And I want to say I think it will release. I'm just hoping it releases in the next few years, to be honest. If it released in the next 3 years and it was a massive, complete, full game, I'd I'd be happy. But if it was in 10 years, I think I would have forgot about it and moved on from then.
But yeah, they need to get this moving, because if Odyssey comes out and it's smashing it, they're going to need to pull their fingers out and do something.
Yeah, definitely. How long do you think it's going to take to release, Nathan?
I think it needs to be out within the next 2 years. I think it needs to be in beta in the next 2 years. But I bet you, I think they're holding on, maybe for PlayStation 5 and whatever other Xbox is called. I think they're waiting to see how that do, because they've got obviously different graphics capabilities and stuff. I think they're waiting to see what that level of graphics is and that sort of level of technology before they do something. You know, like DayZ got overhauled and graphics changed. I think they'll end up having to do an overhaul on Star Citizen. So I think they're sort of biding the time with that. So I reckon don't expect it before 5 years, another 5 years, because look what's happened in the last 8, nothing basically. Like I started playing it in 2015, I think it were, in 5 years, and I can only think of 2 things that they've added different, and one of them is character creators, and the other one is you can choose where you spawn when you load in. Virtually nothing's changed gameplay wise.
I hate that character creator. I don't understand it.
It's crap. It's terrible.
I just click. It's like you make one person, then you get another, then what? You're the baby. I don't get it.
You can mesh them up to make it whatever you want.
I just want to make either Scarlett Johansson or Halle Berry and just play the game. That's all I want to do. I don't want to have to. I can't even describe how terrible that character creates. Just let me pick a nose.
The character creation is very basic, but it's also complicated.
Or just give me 10 faces to pick from. Just let me just do that. Give me 10 faces.
They had that at one point, didn't they?
Give me 10 faces. Each can have a different skin. Each can, let there be like 6 skin colours, a couple of different faces, maybe 10 different ear cuts, and then you can just you're done, aren't you? There you go. Fixed your problem, Star Citizen. Get rid of your stupid character creator. If you're listening, Chris Roberts.
Thanks for joining us. Drop us a comment on your thoughts about Star Citizen. Is it a con, or is it going to ever get actually released? Have you pledged yourself? And if you have, are you happy with the service so far? Don't forget to like and subscribe to hear more from us. I've been Nathan.
I've been Lee.
And I've been Terry.
And we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us on this episode. You can find us on various podcast platforms, including Spotify and Google Podcasts. Come and find us on Facebook, YouTube, and also we now have a Twitch channel where we're going to attempt to do a weekly stream.